Yes, Dr. Aru. All set. Okay, we shall start. Very happy evening, folks joining from India and Singapore region, and a very happy morning for folks from North America, US and Canada. Of course, a very, very happy evening to Dr. Arumugan, our chief guest and distinguished speaker for the evening. As you all know, Spin Chennai is almost 27 years old and is one of the exclusive and dynamic spins amongst the 100-odd spins in the world today, because of not only the impact it has been creating through reach, the program's effectiveness, but also for the consistency and the relevancy with the future focus. Chennai Spin, also called as C-Spin, has been the pioneer in promoting various high maturity and quality management practices, processes, frameworks, and models, including CMMI 2.0, ISO, the various flavors, Six Sigma, Lean, Theory of Constraints, BS 7799, GDPR, Agile, various versions, Malcolm Baldrige, Balanced Scorecard, Blue Ocean Strategy, 5S, 7 QC tools, TQM, ESG, of late, ESG as well. So we identified digital transformation maturity as an important component for Indian businesses to remain competitive as well as protective and capture the global opportunities. If we want to be really Atmanirbhar, we need to be digital. So if you take one metric, the supply chain cost to GDP for India, it is about 14% of the GDP cost, GDP, whereas most other countries, Western countries, it is at 8%. We can simply see the inefficiency of this parameter alone, the supply chain aspect. If this metric can be improved with the digital transformation, with the application of AI, ML, and various other techniques, you can imagine how our competitiveness can improve. So Spin Chennai is working on a digital transformation maturity model, which is very, very India-centric, under the leadership of Dr. Ilan Rajaram, one of our core founding members. So DT maturity is not about just business impact. It is also about sustainability, inclusiveness, and a whole lot. Spin Chennai is also focusing on ESG, the environmental, social, and governance aspect, as a big theme, and is leading the efforts towards integrating sustainability in all our thinking and all our activities. We collaborated with the Gulf-based GEC group in bringing huge focus with the CXO community last year. during 2022, we included this as a key focus area for the Watson Free Awards as well. So Spin Chennai also sees metaverse as a huge opportunity and a trend starting 2025 onwards. Of course, metaverse, we've already started, but as a big business theme, we are expecting it to scale from 2025 onwards. And we have already started brainstorming on the processes, policies, and frameworks surrounding that. And Spin Chennai's focus on supporting Atmanirbhar through startup innovation and contribution to the IP filing and thought leadership in the country continues with full vigor. And we are working on this through multiple partner ecosystems. Our steering committee members continue to play an active role in shaping global standards, including CMMI version 2.0, Agile, GDPR, and others. So our vision and mission at Spin is to build a open and world-class knowledge ecosystem, which is very compelling, highly relevant and value-adding, distinctively futuristic, and passionately co-creative. Some of the world-renowned gurus who have been giving guidance, who have been visited Spin Chennai, have been part of us for a long period. For example, Dr. Watts Humphrey, who is hailed as the father of software process quality in the world. He has spent close to 10 years with the Spin Chennai, very specifically Spin Chennai, even though he has traveled across India. But Spin Chennai is the one where he was fondly associated, that we helped him create the Watts Humphrey Institute at Guindy Industrial Estate. And till his untimely demise in 2010, he has been part and parcel of Spin Chennai. We have worked with him on not only the CMMI and other models, but also the individual quality model, team software process, TSP, PSP, and all that. Louis Trigger, who is a direct devotee or descendant of Ellie Goldratt, the world famous author of the theory of constraints. Louis Trigger has been associated with Spin Chennai. Dr. Bill Curtis, who has been a key proponent, a key architect of the CMM and the People CMM. He has traveled to India several times. He was one of the chief guests in one of our Watson Free Awards in 2018. Mark Johnson, co-founder of InnoSight, a very popular innovation consulting firm in the US and globally. Dr. Jeff Sutherland, co-creator of Scrum and Agile framework. He had been with us in 2021 twice, right? Of course, virtually during the COVID timeframe. Michael Krigsman, international columnist and author of CXO Talk, more than 1,000 appearances. He had been with us. Professor Manu Vora, one of the top management consultants in the US. People from Google, YouTube. Mr. Lakshmi Shankar, one of the top 10 in Twitter. Then MD of InnoSight, and more than 50 plus Indian gurus have been associated with the Spin Chennai in various capacities, advising us, providing thought leadership, guest lectures, and whatnot. So our ecosystem, we are continuously expanding, where everybody has some role to play, contribute, and win. Our 4,000 strong community has the who's who you can think of, including domain experts, SMEs, thought leaders, leading practitioners, researchers, academics, trainers, mentors, startups, consultants, publishers, journal partners, HR experts, operation experts, infrastructure, marketing, supply chain experts, media partners. The repertoire they bring across various frameworks, models, and practices, technologies, including Python, AI, ML, DL, analytics, blockchain, AR, VR, DevOps, drones, cloud, mobile apps. I think I can go on and on. In the interest of time, I will stop here. There are at least 7 ways to engage with Spin Chennai, in case you are wondering. Of course, as a member, you can become an individual member or a corporate member, as an event delegate, like one participating today, attendee of one of our training programs. You can invite Spin to deliver corporate training programs as a contestant at Watts Humphrey Awards. You may be a faculty or trainer, for one of our training programs, as a strategic partner like IJITC, the International Journal, and help in publishing thought leadership through Spin Chennai, sponsor of our events, academic partner. I think the list keeps on expanding. So coming to today's topic, AI and its usefulness. I think very, very important theme. So if you circle back, let's say, go back about 9 years, 2013 or so, AI initiatives were called as moonshots, right? You know about Google and moonshots. How those projects which will take a long time to fructify, but they have a huge potential, called moonshot projects. That was in 2013, but today they have become mainstream. We all know how corporates view things, right? For them, next quarter is important. Maybe not even next year. Next year is further away. So whatever be the technology, if it is not implementable and business value not realizable, then it is of no use. In 2013, I would like to give some sharp examples. The MD Anderson Cancer Center launched a moonshot project. What was it? Diagnose and recommend treatment plans for certain forms of cancer using IBM's Watson cognitive system. But in 2017, the project was put on hold after costs topped $62 million, and the system had yet to be used on patients. The people, the project was still work in progress with very little to show. And at the same time, the cancer center's IT group was experimenting with using cognitive technologies to do much less ambitious jobs, such as making hotel and restaurant recommendations for patients' families, determining which patients needed help paying bills, and addressing staff, IT problems, things like that. They were using cognitive like AI. The results of these projects have been much more promising, right? The new systems have contributed to increased patient satisfaction, improved financial performance, and decline in time spent on tedious data entry by the hospital's care managers. So despite the setback on the moonshot, MD Anderson remains committed. They remain committed to using cognitive technology in terms of next generation artificial intelligence, because that is the way to go to enhance cancer treatment and things like that. And of course, currently, today it has become mainstream, and they have been able to do some fantastic work. So the contrast between the two approaches is relevant to anyone planning AI initiatives, right? So when we there is a survey by external agency of CXOs. Most of them, at least 95 to 97%, they said AI will substantially transform their companies within 3 years. Right. So, however, the other study also pointed out that 152 projects in almost as many companies reveal still highly ambitious moonshots, right? And still the low-hanging fruit have not been really captured. So this should be really surprising, but that has been the case in many of the companies. So while the hype surrounding artificial intelligence has been very powerful, and some organizations have got seduced by it, but many are still trying to figure out how to go about it, right? In today's session, we will look at various categories of artificial intelligence through the lens of business capabilities rather than from the pure technology view. Broadly speaking, AI can support 3 important business needs. 1, automating business processes. 2, gaining insight through data analysis. And 3, engaging with customers and employees. Today's session is going to be very interesting with Dr. Arumugam, starting with illustrating or reinforcing our knowledge on how we think in terms of natural intelligence. How is our brain wired, right? I think it is very important that we understand that first. So before we get on to artificial intelligence, I think that is something we all look forward to from Dr. Arumugam. So coming to our eminent speaker, Dr. Arumugam, in one word, I can say that we are all fortunate to have his time today. He is global, who is part of many global institutions, Harvard, MIT, many Ivy League universities in US and Canada, and as well as Europe. He has been a chair of several boards in the government and corporates. Usually people say Goddess Saraswati and Goddess Lakshmi don't reside on the same individual. But Dr. Arumugam is an exception, right? A very, very deep-rooted thinker, as well as on the commercial side, he has been a super success as well. He is a double PhD, one in AI, way back in 1989. Even when AI was considered as kind of esoteric and a long shot, he had done the AI PhD in 1989, and he has also done a supply chain PhD in the early 2000s. He is the MD and CEO of Broadline Technologies, which is a global consulting firm. He is an independent director in Tamil Nadu newsprints and papers. He is the chairman investment committee of TNIFMC, Tamil Nadu government body. He is the member of advisory panel for Department of Industries, Government of Tamil Nadu, director of Mercury Consulting, US, Illinois, over 30 years of experience in AI and neural network, supply chain management, healthcare, retail, energy, and offshore financial service outsourcing. He pioneered the public drug supply system for Tamil Nadu in 1994 that has been replicated across India and overseas. He pioneered the single window selection process in Tamil Nadu medical selection. Later, this was implemented across India. So he has had stints with IBM, HP, SAP, Xerox on many mission critical projects in US and Asia. His work on healthcare supply chain model in Tamil Nadu was the pioneering model in India, which got later replicated in several states and the central government. It has been appreciated by World Bank and WHO as well. He was awarded the prestigious Luther Terry Award in US for his outstanding contribution in public drug distribution in Africa. Right, you can see the influence, his influence over multiple continents. Right, phenomenal. Very, very silent, very unassuming, very, very helpful. I can go on and on. Right, even another 1 hour, I can talk about his achievements. So profound, and yet so humble and so simple. He has managed the offshore facilities of Alliance, Germany, successfully for 5 years. Built the offshore facilities for Capco, a leading worldwide business and technology management consultancy firm in Pune. He was awarded the prestigious Indian Prime Minister's E-Governance Award, successful innovation of the drug distribution system, year 2000. He has implemented energy and utilities reforms in Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. So he has been working with the University of Plymouth, UK, on various robotic applications and neural networks. Yeah. He has partnered with the Siemens on Industrial 4.0 Center of Excellence and established research and development facilities around India. I think the place he is sitting is in the Tidal Park. There's swanky facility, I think, which all of us, I would encourage everyone to visit. It's a fantastic display of innovation tools and techniques. And those who want to do really prototyping, and that is the place to be, right? Fantastic facility. And during COVID, this contributions oxygen optimizer, right? Device that saves up to 50% oxygen for non-invasive patients. I think is the way, even though he's not a medical doctor, but the kind of knowledge he brings on various areas, you will see today. Some of them, particularly when he talks about brain and the other aspects, right? I can go on and on in the interest of time. We want to listen to him. So with this, I would like to request everyone to unmute, right? Unmute for a minute and give him a big hand. Welcome him. Over to you, Dr. Arumugan.
Thank you, Rajaram. I'm audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Rajaram, for a very, very elaborate discussion on artificial intelligence and then about me. I think you said I'm humble, but you wouldn't have talked so much about me. Anyway, pretty extensive talk. Anyway, thank you for this opportunity.
Incidentally, I have not even read the full this one. Maybe half of it only I have touched upon.
I think henceforth I got to tailor my resume. Thank you. So to start, I mean, it's a pretty interesting topic. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to speak in the Distinguished Speakers Forum. Well, I think artificial intelligence has been a buzzword and people are talking about it every walks of life. And today, I think most of the people talks about it very, very casually, and a lot of children talks about AI. I have seen some school children are working on AI. That's what they say. So it becomes a buzzword and intimidating to everyone to look into the AI concepts across the world. So, but before we go into the AI, as Rajaraman said, I would like to start about the brain. Brain is a pretty complex and very huge. I can't measure it. It's such a brilliant system, a natural system. As you see, the brain, it has got such a great capability. And in terms of its storage, in terms of its neuron movements and the energy of the neuron and the chemical compounds and so on, it's need to be really understand more in detail, because when you talk about AI, first you must understand what is your brain and what is that to your brain. Everything we are talking about AI is going to be transformed from the brain. Every thought we build on the AI is based on our brain. So it's definitely a huge system to appreciate and understand. So now if you look at the visual cortex, that's what the more sensitive point, because if we start talking about brain, it will take about an hour for to describe, but I would like to talk about the visual cortex, see how really the eye works as a camera and trying to build the visual image into the brain, and how it really store it and retrieve it as and when it requires. So now if you look at the visual area, which is on the left corner of the brain. Oh, my presentation, all of you could see?
No, sir.
Oh my God, I thought that it is shared.
Yeah, you can do a screen share.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Will do that.
You can do a full screen share.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Now you could see that. I'm sorry about it. Now you all.
Yes.
So now, if you look at the brain, I hope it's not getting covered by any of the images, right? It's fully seen. I mean,
no,
all
sir.
this content you could see it.
Yeah, we are not seeing the full screen yet.
Make it in a presentation mode.
Now it's okay?
No, not yet.
You're not able to see the visual cortex well?
Yeah, no, I think this is fine. I think we can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So now, if you look at this visual cortex, the left side of the brain, you have got the visual area. Actually, your eye is like a camera. It picks up all the images, and the images will go into the visual area. It gets properly, tagged, and it is being put into the visual associative area. See, that's the association area. That's where this is being stored. So what happens, you see someone and then you see them after so many years, but you will be still able to recover the face by a look, and we are trying to say who he is all about. And you look at the host of sensors which are located in the brain, left brain and the right brain, will all the sensors which will be working all through your life. And these sensors are so very important that these sensors are getting associated with a visual associated area, because all these sensors are all being programmed back with the visual sensory. So this is the way your visual cortex is being displayed as a whole. So this is the basis for your AI as a whole. So now, if you look at the brain, there are two major myths. Now it's okay. Now it's okay. You're all right. So there are two myths about the brain. One is brain will not grow after your childhood. This is what everyone thinks. Brain doesn't grow after childhood. And another myth is brain rest when we don't do any activity or sleep. These two, and the third myth is 10,000 hours of learning, one can become an expert. All three are big myths. Brain will grow till the last breath. So your brain has got the capability to understand and store and create structures. So if you look at how it really happens, every neurons is got to be connected by a chemical. That chemical and the neuron together, it will create the neuroplasticity. This neuroplasticity is what the brain that creates on every activity. So now if you look at this activity, which will be progressing in a human being till his last breath. So it doesn't stop when they were childhood. See, until recently, people were thinking only at the childhood our brain grows, after that it stops permanently. The same as the rest. Brain doesn't rest at all, because you have to breathe, you have to do so many involuntary actions. Your liver has to function, your kidney has to function, and your entire tract has to function. Everything is connected to brain. So brain takes even your thermal differences. For example, if you are in a deep sleep, suddenly the cold goes high, you will try to pull a rug and sleep. And it may be sometime immediately it wake you up. It gives you an alarm that you are getting chilled, and the body will respond immediately, and the brain will start giving you the action. So it works all through their life. Then the myth of 10,000 hours. This is what outliers. There is a statement: 10,000 hours. If somebody learns, they become an expert. But this is not true. For somebody, it is 2,000 hours. Somebody, it is 14,000 hours. Somebody, it is 20,000 hours. So it is not going to be decided as how many hours actually a person be able to learn. So it is more personalized. So you cannot take that always into this. Now, if you look at the left and right brain, left-handers will have right brain active. Right-handers will have left brain active. So for the left-handers, the right brain, which is the creativity, intuition, arts, and the creation, and the feeling, imagination, they will be good at all these things. See, the best examples are two. Bill Clinton is a left-hander, and your Barack Obama was a left-hander. These two people end up becoming they're creative people, and they are not geometrical people. But in the right-handers, whose left brain will be extremely active, so you think they become more analyst, they become logical, and they are idea oriented, they generate facts, and they are good in math, and they're good in training. But they can't be good in everything. They may be good in alternative, or someone who are blessed may have everything together. So this is the way brain system actually, it functions. So see what happens. See, this is a question with everyone. Why is young children won't study that well? Some children won't study that well. Why stroke is the third largest killer among population? And stroke destroys some of the utilities of the brain, leads to low motor function for some people. Some people won't recover from the stroke at all. And some patients' recovery time extends for a long. Why tend to forget things? Some people tend to forget things. Some people will reproduce without much difficulty. See, why all these things happens is because largely you should understand standard treatment guidelines is not going to work. You have to have personalized treatment. So every individual is personalized. If some child is not reading well, you don't have to ignore them. You don't have to call them. They are not, blessed to have a wonderful reading capability. They are not able to really perform because their brain is slow or whatever. See, they may be very creative. They may be good in their logical sense. They may be good in communication. See, you have to find out which area of the brain that really active. If you suit them accordingly, they may do it well. So more education, treatment, everything should be more personalized. So it cannot be commonized. You can't have a standard treatment. Same set of medicines if you start giving to every individual, they are not going to work. So personalization is very, very important. So now I will have to talk about the neuroplasticity. See, neuroplasticity is what your neural network, how it creates a neural network within the brain. See, what happens is there are two things. Motor skills, you have got two kinds of motor skills are usually talked about. For example, somebody is learning piano for the first time. They may learn the piano and then they may learn a piano for a day and they want to work on the piano. They may do whatever they learn, they may do 10% of it. Then they fumble, they forget. What happened? This is the short-term motor skills. They just picked up one day of learning, they will not be able to reproduce it. So now neuroplasticity comes into play. Once this same piano, if you try to work for every day, they just practice every day, then what happens? Your brain with a chemical and the neurons, it will do structural change. That structural change is permanent. The structural change is so permanent that this person can reproduce what he learned any number of times or any time in his life. So this is the greatest asset in human beings. So if you try to look at it, some people who are blessed to have a faster pace of this neuron mapping called neuroplasticity, they can create so much of brilliant attitude and brilliant functional talent, and for a very long time, they can be a good performers. See, the flip side of this neuroplasticity, what happens, such individuals who do a rapid development of the brain, sometimes when they fail in some of their attempts, they will drop, they will move into depression, and the depression will lead to drugs. So this is the flip side of it. So neuroplasticity activity of a brain is not, going to be called is a plus point always. It has a certain minus point as well. So now if you look at the history of computers, it's all happened from 1942 and this evolution happened in various technology and everything was evolving over a time. If you ask me a question, when is actually internet has come? Internet was was created about 40 years ago, 40 years ago. So when we said the file sharing and servers, cluster of server happens, it's about 50 years ago. And so every technology we talk, let's say, robo came about 45 years ago. If you talk about not 45, it's about 60 years ago. If you talk about AI, which came in 1952. So every technology which came in not very recently, it has all come through various points of time, and it's all a very long, thing. It's a pretty long story. So these things are being evolved over a time. So this is about the evolution of your computers. Now, if you look at Arthur Samuel, who created the first AI was created by him. Arthur Samuel started the development of checkers game. See, this checkers game he did with a huge amount of AI principles, and he built a computer. That computer can play checkers game. And in 1962, he has been going through a lot of people to play against his computer. Finally, Connecticut champion came forward and played with the computer, and he lost it. This is considered as the first AI breakthrough in the world. This is a recorded first AI breakthrough in the world. And this was followed by IBM's Deep Blue. IBM's Deep Blue has got, Gary Kasparov was invited to play with IBM Deep Blue. And that IBM Deep Blue was built with the technology of AI. And it's so it was trying to play every game, and every moves that Gary Kasparov was trying to make, it is able to recognize the move, and it was becoming more and more intelligent to counter his moves as well. So that was one greatest breakthrough during this time. So this is the second, and it is followed by the AlphaGo. 2016 AlphaGo. Lee Sedol, one of the world champions, has played with that and lost it. So Google has come up with AlphaGo. So this is the evolution of AI over time. Then comes, during World War II, this is something, this is special about Alan Turing. As you all know, equivalent of Nobel Prize in computer science is the Alan Turing Award. The Turing Award is the equivalent of Nobel Prize. Highly decorated, the award in the world. Alan Turing, during World War II, he decoded the Enigma machine of the German intelligence. German intelligence system was undoubtedly the best those times, and it was not broke by anyone. Nobody could break it, but Alan Turing developed his own machine, DSIR, and he tried to build a code and that could, penetrate into German intelligence, Enigma machine, and he is able to decode all the information. And that was the reason Germany was, stopped from bombing and destroying the UK. So Alan Turing came into an international recognition. But one thing, today, whatever we talk about in AI, whatever we talk about many of the latest current technologies, Alan Turing wrote about it in 1940s. He is one of the most celebrated scientists across the world. This is another evolution. Now, if you look at this, I hope you can all see this thing, right? Comfortably?
Yes, very much.
Yes.
Yeah. Nothing was this thing. AI is a widespread application. It has evolved into a powerful tool, enables machines to act as per their predefined learning methods. You see, largely you are putting a machine to learn, our brain, how we start doing it. I tell you a simple example. When you are a child, your father says if somebody rings the bell, you have to go and see through the eyepiece whether who is standing, or if you are able to recognize the person, that's okay. Otherwise, you give a sound, who is this? Then the person will say, if he's known voice, recognizable voice, then you open the door. If he's unknown person, you ask him more details about him, either you open it or you call someone to see that whether that man is the right person. So similarly, when an AI machine to be perfect and which can take any task, it has to be built with tremendous amount of training. So that training is what is the intelligence that we are trying to give it to the machine. So if you look at the whole world has become literate with 100 years of learning. 100 years of learning, humans become more and more literate. I'm talking about 100 years of continuous evolving that has happened on the learning methods, which created all of them quite literate and quite aware of what is happening across the world. So for AI to complete entire thing, we may need another 100 years. It needs 100 years for stabilizing. AI started in 1940s, so already 80 years gone. Next 20 years is going to be the year of AI expansion. We may see something phenomenal in this period of time. So now look at the Google. Google, the translations you have got, Google has been doing, our brain power is only 2.5 petabyte, whereas Google learning runs into exabyte, 16 exabyte. So what happens is Google now developed a memory system so high above even human brain by introducing quantum computing. So what really happens with the quantum computing, it has got such a, as you all aware, quantum computing, it's not 0 and 1, it's 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. It's all happened in every flip of your moves. Unlike 0, 1, it happens, all these rotations happens on every flip. So that you can imagine the speed and the storage capability and the kind of, its capability to absorb. So that is the beauty of this, a memory of the quantum computing. So now the quantum computing is going to help this AI development in a very large way. Look at the neural activity. See actually what neuron flows, similar mapping has been done for language processing. Language processing is not a simple idea. It is a neural network based. This is an artificial neural network. So we are trying to copy the brain function and trying to build like neuron, we are trying to carry this carrier of memory shift within the system, and that goes and fetches every data from the repository. As you know, the repository of your quantum computing is phenomenal. So they just pick up and give, how many languages it manages? It manages about 100 languages. Google manages about 100 language translation. So anyone can just walk in, they put their language and they get this. Out of which 24 language is on work all the time. That is the beauty of this whole thing. So, this is something that all of you should appreciate the way Google has developed over time. The neural network, what Google has built it for translation, is one of those benchmark for neural network in the world. Now, what is easy for an AI and what is easy for human being? AI can do the weather prediction. As you are aware, the weather prediction in the US goes on, millimeter accuracy. So it is millisecond accuracy. You can find out your weather predictions because the data, what they collect from the whole of the United States is so foolproof. The system is so accurate. So it can play sex. It can do folding routines and it can file taxes. It can do paperwork, fraud detection, all host things, and which can do beautiful learning system and which can broadcast. It can do anything. But human beings are good at diplomacy. Diplomacy is something that we cannot do it because we still not gone to the self-aware robots. So we will not be able to bring diplomacy. Self-aware AI has not yet been done. Childcare, it cannot do. Folding laundry, it cannot do. Driving, cooking, elderly care. See, actually, where human being is going to be in very clear, in the next 5 years, I think we will be out of all these things for, your even diagnosis will slowly move by a computer. The doctor is needed only to decide and recheck the diagnosis for the assurance of the patient, but it's going to be perfect. So that's the way the future diagnosis is going to be. So human being will be only for this. Now you can, even the driving in Western world is going to be slowly taken over by the AI. So already tests have been done and it proved very good. In fact, the driving by an AI system is as less accident than the human being driving. As per tests, many other tests, it's proved undoubtedly the AI driving is far superior. In many of those medical diagnoses, I think the diagnosis of the AI is far superior and so perfect than the human being, what they try to do it. So application of AI, artificial intelligence, has got a huge application portfolio. And today it is spread across the world. It is becoming essential in today's time because without that, they cannot shrink the work because it is going to be so humongous amount of work is coming. The data is so much. Human being will not be very comfortable to make decisions. So everything is moving towards AI. So now I would like to discuss about 10 top trends of the AI. I would like to talk about the ethical AI. See now, as you are aware, as the day passes, or even our management of your company, management of any business, even a school or hospital, everything has come through an ethical basis. Unless ethics are being properly followed, governance are properly followed, and the principle of governance and data governance, accountability, fairness, every transparency of a system is entirely depends on the ethical. So this is slowly moving into AI. This AI will be so wonderful for the transparency in providing a peep into the system, and companies are initiating multiple programs, research simultaneously to encourage smaller companies to adapt ethical AI for their business. See, actually, when we talk about AI, it's only larger companies because big tech companies only will go for AI, whereas small companies, they think it is too difficult for them to do it. But I would say, yeah, simple pizza company can use it. A pizza shop can use it because wherever there is data, AI can be applied. That's what it is. And yes, are going to be large application of AI is going to be there. Then explainable AI. This is a part of the ethical AI. Experts detail functioning models. So this model will have a deep learning as well as many machine learning will generate insights to future requirements. So you will be able to explain about the future as to how various things is going to evolve to achieve that, what all the things you have to do so that you will bring transparency among the stakeholders. This is going to be another big area. Then the predictive analysis. So predictive analytics is so very important because your future is largely depends on the fairness and the ability to bring clear flow of all your data into a very, very clearly understandable platform. That's where we will get the complete transparency, and encouraging this into small companies is going to be the next paradigm shift. So AI is not, it's simply for the large companies. Now it is migrating to small companies as well. Then the emotional AI, which is almost, they are trying to build the emotional AI. So the computing will be able to emotionally think. AI measures and understand, and which is also be able to understand the eye ball movement, and it can read from the corner of the eye. That is where Canthus is going to be applied into your AI. That's going to be the technology in the future, which will have a lot of emotional capability. So you're just not the verbal science, but also it understands various movements face, and it will try to do that. This is going to be applied very widely in mental health and for psychological treatment and deep depressions and so on. This emotional AI is going to be the thing. You know, what happens is this normally when you look at any AI platform, you know, that platform you can see a small, recently one pathologist who is considered to be the most celebrated pathologist in the US, and his predictions are almost very, very commendable predictions for in terms of lung cancer. There were about 12 slides given to him, and the 12 slides were fed into an AI system. AI came 12 out of 12, but he was able to do only 9 out of 12. So accuracy at which the AI is working is going to be phenomenal. I think that is going to be the paradigm shift for the future. See, now what happens, the diseases are growing. Now 1/3 of the world population suffer from cancer. Many of them are unreported, and they suddenly come out with the advanced stage. That's what is happening across the world. So what happens with this kind of a trend? I think we need a lot of technology to assess various part of the evolution. See, now look at the AR/VR. AR/VR is the big promising technology. I think the AR/VR functions are largely, accelerated towards a lot of applications. One of them, see, for example, an aircraft moves to Africa. If it moves to Africa, as you all know, Africa, if the aircraft fails, to get its service, someone has to fly for 6,000 kilometers away to come and do the service because it's not possible. So what happens is most of the aircrafts will carry their spares along with them. Okay, this AR/VR technology, the pilots will wear the AR/VR glass and look at the problem. It is going to tell them where exactly the problem. So the problem diagnosis will be done by the AR/VR. It is going to exactly give the detail. He will keep opening, but he doesn't know anything about engine. But he will open what amount of tightness that you have to give for the screws, everything he will be taught in the AR/VR. He can service the aircraft and take it off. So this is going to be the technology. So now it's not that 6,000 miles someone has to fly and correct your system. That's not going to be there at all. So this AR/VR has got thousands of industrial functions. This is going to be a huge paradigm shift. So AI in robotics, robotics, as you all know, it is a big time. Robots have come big time. The application of robo are big time. You can see Amazon warehouse is run by only micro robots, and all logistics systems of I see, for example, the best system adapted by among the liners are the MERS lines. MERS lines runs on AI-based system. So that system saves 40% of their time in unloading and loading of their cargo in every port of work, and it just lands and it just moves out. So such a clear and brilliant manner it works. So because AI has been done, so AI is so powerful. Now all the robots knows what to move, where to move, what to pick up. See, as you know, in pharmaceutical industries, the first expiry, first out. It is not first in, first out. It's first expiry, first out. So this has to go pick up the right lot and pack it and put it on the micro robots. So this kind of an accuracy, this kind of an intelligence has been fed in most of the AI robotics. So now AI arms, robo arms are being deployed widely across systems. Even the Daimler works on robo arms. Every company in the world, automotive company, now moves on to robo arms. And these things are now, the robots have become cobos. They become collaborative robots. And these collaborative robots are so powerful and it works so well that even a human intervention, it stops and guide through the human. It doesn't hit the human. So accurate it is being designed. So this is another thing which then, of course, cyber security. As you know, every day we advance into hacking. So every time we build an advanced system to stop the cracking, and the crackers have started building so much of things across the world. So cyber security threats becomes more and more difficult. So we are now creating an AI system. The AI system, every cyber security threat was fit in, and the solutions are being worked out. So these things are now put as an outer layer for most of the data repository. So nobody can get into that. If any form of cyber hacking, this can find out. I mean, your robo is so capable of, your AI system is so capable of finding it out. With AI and quantum computing, cyber security, it can be completely avoided. On top of it, if with the quantum computing, if you create a cyber hacking, then it's going to be too difficult to solve. That's another big problem. And the technology grows. If the technology has the access for others, it's going to be a big threat. It's always there. See, any technology that grows has got the flip side. If it is get the hands of hackers, they can play havoc in your life. So both are possible. So the AI, the investment on AI on cyber security is growing so much. And largely IT sector, you all know this only AI-based system. The AI-based system was moving across the hospital, and it was very very carefully managed beds in the hospital. It moves the medicines when the patients are suffering from complex disease and which has got a vulnerability to transmit. So here is where they used the AI to mend the ways for distributing drugs and patient care and give personal care to them, etc., etc. And the whole of working environment everywhere. Yes, AI has been implemented to boost their productivity. So the lot of performance improvement has happened. Of course, computer vision, which is the big area, as you know, Google has invested so much of billions of dollars for doing the computer vision. As you all, from the beginning, I said about the vision of our human brain is the basis for creating this, and they are very successful in collating their sequences. Now they have built AI-based system. These systems are kept in large malls. So these malls will have cameras. That cameras will monitor every person who enter into that. So every footfall will be monitored, and it goes through them. And from the face, it takes the repository of his information. From the retail he has done. If he's a fresher, it follows him. He goes to a shop and he swipes his card, and it grabs all the details about him. And his approach of buying will be regularly monitored. And these things were stored, and every time there will be a sale posting, everything will be automated towards him. And the entire process of shopping has been monitored. On top of it, when he removes out of the car parking, you don't have to remember which way he has done it. All he has to do is go in for an AI assist. This will lead him right to the car, and he can just go away. So a lot of things which are done through the vision technology. So this is going to have a huge future. And of course, IIoT and IoT is now that 5G has come, and much of the network has been happening through the 5G. And TN is one of those brilliant states where 5G is under implementation and it's going to be on, and we have quite a good network connectivity. It doesn't fail much, and we are very safe, and it's working so well. So a lot of applications and IoT is on the rise. And as I'm being managing a Siemens Center of Excellence, so we are managing a Siemens Center of Excellence, we were able to see the number of people who are shifting to industrial IoT and large amount of IoT implementation. IoT implementation also, there is a huge amount of AI has been fitted. The advantage of that, AI does the learning as what all the procedures and process that has to follow, and those procedures and follow-ups, it does it automatically. So you have a complete control on what you do with this IoT. So this is an area which is emerging. And now I must talk about the neural network. You see, neural network is something that that is based on artificial intelligence, how your brain works. So whatever that your chemical and your neurons and your neuroplasticity and the structural creation, whatever I talked about it, we are creating through an artificial network that's called neural networks. I've been specialized working in neural network for a long time. So this neural network is largely artificial intelligence. We solve complicated problems and summarizing documents, recognizing faces with the greater accuracy, and the structure of assembling, deassembling of anything, which would be possible with a deep learning and of course machine learning. So a lot of these latest applications are built through the AI, which will sense through the neural networks. So this is the paradigm shift, and neural networks have been quite widely applied for various functions of day to day. Now you're learning, there are two major things which comes. One is the open AI. Open AI is a image processing. General terms is manipulating images to generate information out called image process. That's a definition. The process of this thing is digital image processing, which is used to manipulate digital images and help complex algorithms. So any image, see, for example, a fraud detection you want to do, you have the photograph of the person. That photograph it will take. From the photograph, it will go into the criminal records, and it can just call out the name of the face of the person, it merge it and throw off. And if you want to have some image of a bird and try to put it, this OpenAI and Google AI will go to that environment, understands and tracks the problem, and it goes back in the action. So this is going to be, this is the next paradigm shift for the learning algorithms. See, learning algorithm, as I told you, we have been learning in a simple way. Now we are getting into the larger network. So OpenAI will be so much, largely being appreciated. And this has come as a big learning support. And in case if you want something to learn out of OpenAI, you just give the query, it will start give you an AI-based, view of that. So this is a big time thing. And from this, ChatGPT comes into picture. What is ChatGPT? See, ChatGPT is OpenAI has brought in ChatGPT. ChatGPT has become a big paradigm shift. I am literally worried. I'm worried so much that this is going to make programming more simple. So projects are not going to take long time to do it. Chat GPT, it is called generative pre-trained transformer 3. This is the expanded version of Chat GPT. So you see, what actually it does is it it has got so much of information, and it's so much of learning has been done across the world. It has got repository of information in plenty. So anyone who types in on some reasons to understand, you don't have to go into the Google to check in any longer. You can go into the Chat GPT, which you can download in any browser. It's an OpenAI. See, you know the beauty. It was started on the 30th November 2022. That is the day this has come into life. But you know, the first day it has crossed millions of hits. Whereas to touch millions of hits by Facebook, it took about 6 months. So every of them, nobody was as quick as this. Either Twitter or any of the social media has not even come close to this. There is an investment of $29 billion. It is valued at $29 billion. Microsoft has invested took 40% of the stake. So this is going to change the paradigm shift. I tell you a simple problem. One of the complex work we were doing, there was a continuous code. Code was in trouble. The boy came to me. I just put it on the Chat GPT. I just asked it whether this code is all right. You know, it immediately corrected. There was a syntax error. It colored the syntax error and it has sent me the program with a clear note that where exactly this has happened, and it was beautifully recoded and sent to me. In seconds it happened. So you can give any questions into that. It picks up answers from across the world. And it has got such a huge storage, and this outbeat every system which is existing now. In fact, many of the artificial intelligence system are not taking any questions come out of Chat GPT. They all stopped their site for Chat GPT output to be fed into them for any questions. So people are watching across the world with a thread. Now it is free. All of you can just enter into that and make the best use of it. But please remember, this is a big threat to the programmers. And many of the programs you want, you will be able to code through the Chat GPT. So this is going to be a big boom in the AI development. And this is going to change the complete the look and feel of the computing of AI. So now Chat GPT is going to be widely, it is available. Please, all of you can definitely have an access to it and enjoy how comfortable you get answers for each of your questions. And it doesn't fumble much, but any complicated, very, very complicated regional stories, if you are trying to feed it, it is finding it difficult to really answer. So that is the only issue. Otherwise, it goes so simple. And this has got, huge amount of data repository, billions and billions of words, 300 billions of words. And it starts growing. Every day it's growing, and it's adding more and more content to it. And how it manages is brilliant. I think there should be a cluster of quantum computing machine should be behind to do all this effectively. Let me touch upon the Industry 4.0, which is also largely run on AI-based system. If you look at the Industry 4.0, which is the shift, actually what happens, you all must be aware, industry was running with various generations. First generation was steam generation, second generation was electrical machines, third generation was computers, robots, Wi-Fi, a host of whatever you have, everything comes into the third generation. But fourth generation is all digital. It's going to be digital. So when you talk about digital, it is largely AI driven. So now, if you look at the disruptions that have happened in the world, first was Kodak disruption. You know what happened? Kodak was evolving company, but the company did not take digitalization, digital transformation. They were still with their printing method and the analog camera. What happened? They destroyed. The company destroyed. But once upon a time, the company was one of the 500 Fortune company. Company is one of those companies which is valued very high, got destroyed because they have not adapted to the digital disruption. Another disruption is your internet infrastructure. When I used to be in US in my 80s and 90s, I used to wonder why the hell they are digging the road and laying such a huge pipe and trying to draw so much of wires across, and such a disruption is happening. What for it is? But from then I understand the internet is possible is because of this wide internet infrastructure which has been created across the world. Similarly, another disruption is your Uber. Uber came and it destroyed the rest of the travel industry. Now, another important point I would like to say is the IoT and artificial intelligence. These two has come, and many people think that these two, the IoT and artificial intelligence has come, it is going to destroy the opportunity of human power. I would say it is not going to affect the if I work on the opportunity of human being, but it's only add value to our life. When you know in 1960s and 50s, Malthusian theory said people will die of famine because of the population rise. What happened? We become more demographic dependent. So similarly, now this technology adaptation is going to make our life simple, and much of us will become more rather than doing the fundamental work. So fundamental works will be carried out by the AI and advanced computing system. We will be more into the intelligent system. Finally, I would like to talk about the adaptation curve. If you look at the adaptation curve for the power steering, which was started in 1951, took about 30 years to stabilize. It came into stability only in 1980. So similarly, if you look at the tablet or social media, etc., just took about 1 year to grow. The adaptation curve is fast. So the adaptation of technology is going to be rapid. So don't miss the opportunity to adapt it. Technology. This I'm touching up on industry revolution, part of the AI, is largely because henceforth your industry is going to work on automation. It's not going to be on manual. So, and the number of people who are working in the industry is multi-skilled. It's not one skill. I will do only vending. No, you have to do the fitting, you have to do the welding, and you have to do the furnishing. So you may have to learn many art. Art of learning is simple because you are only operating among the machines. You are not manually doing anything. So it's going to be simple. And the adaptation is so rapid that unless you catch up with the speed, you will not be able to survive. And then this is about the industry 4.0. You have got cyber physical system, big data, industry IoT, Internet of Things. To be precise, Internet of Things, those who are learners in the who watch this presentation, I just want to give you what is IoT. Very simple. You have a camera at home. The camera catches an image, and the image is flowing into the in cloud computing. So it moves out to the cloud, and you will be able to watch in different part of the world, and you take decision. This is what is IoT. IoT is nothing complicated. Please don't think it's very complicated. Internet of Things. Internet of Things is nothing but a physical system grab a signal, and the signal is sent to the internet, and from the internet, someone makes use of it and take decision. It can be a human being or it can be a machine itself. that machine will be fed with the data and it act on it. For example, if there is a fire alarm, the fire alarm sends it immediately. It flows. There is yes, slightly fire started. Immediately, this information will be fed back to the fire systems to act. So, otherwise, all the fire repellent system will be kept, and the moment fire is there, it will reactivate. So, this is what is IoT. So, IoT, every system runs on IoT. Then the 3D scanner. So the scan for images or reverse engineering is done by the 3D scanner. We just scan an image and reverse engineering is done, which we are doing now. Then the advanced robotics. Robotics has gone on very advanced level. So how and what application is only matters. Then the additive printing, which is nothing but 3D printing. You have a component, you do that 3D laser scanning, and you can set the configuration geometry of the product. Then you study the metallic and properties of the component. Then the component properties will be fed into the additive printing. We mix those in proper equations, and the component comes out. Then this comes out with the components, various composition and also the component. Now it is easy for someone to replicate. Then VR, AR, I already spoke about it. AI and machine learning becomes very important. And I have to talk more about digital twin. The world has come into digital twin. Twin is you have one side, you build a component by an image. You build a geometrical structure on a computer. And the same geometrical thing will be fed into the real world for its production. This is the twin, digital twin. So, of course, cyber physical system and the big data, and of course, cloud computing are going to be the technology which is going to take over the manufacturing, retail, and supply chain, and host of your mechanical functions will be slowly moved into the industry 4.0. And I think the days to come, it is only handshaking with robots. It's not going to be human to human. It is human to machine. Machine is going to speak to human. It is going to act according to your instructions, and it can sometime bypass your instruction in case you should try to feed a wrong instruction. So this is going to be very helpful for nuclear plant. If some scientist half sleep, if he takes a decision, that decision will be validated by the AI system. If the decision is wrong, AI system will induce the computer to stop the process, despite the human being influences. Finally, I'll come to a very hard topic, is the self-awareness robot. Self-awareness AI. The moment your computer, your system, AI, is able to do self-conscious ability, and the plausibility, debate, and ethical question, if it can understand and it is conscious of what it does, and if it can change by itself, like you see the movies of Terminator and host of movies you have seen, if such robots, we are able to do that. There is a huge investment that's going on. People across the world is developing. If one such thing happens, that is going to be the challenge for human being. And it is going to be powerful, and it can think on its own. And how it is going to take on the human being, whether it is going to destroy the human being or it is going to help the human being, is a big question. So, AI is a big area and very interesting area. And my topic was more on the evolution of AI. And whatever little things I can accommodate in this 1 hour, I'm able to do it. Now it's open for questions. Thank you. Rajaram?
Yeah, fantastic and very insightful presentation, Dr. Arun. So, folks, please unmute. And this is the time to interact with the AI expert. So while people are preparing themselves, Dr. Gopal, Dr. Gopal is a professor at Anna University, Computer Science Department. Over to you, Dr. Gopal.
Dr. Arumugan, thank you very much for the nice lecture.
Thank
I
you.
wish to know your insights on the emotion machine and sentiment analysis that's happening.
Well, actually, this is a learning process. In fact, we are trying to replicate much of the process which normally does by the human being. We are trying to build certain amount of coding towards bringing it to a sensual activities. In the sense, now the robots we created machines which can have 360. So we are, for various applications, we have given a full record. So earlier it was not there. It's all moving very restricted geometry. Now we have abundant geometry. It can move on its own. And it's also a bit aware of the environment and it can act. This is 1% of development. So now what they are doing is they are trying to patch such machines with with a work on their a little bit of emotional pickup, in the sense you have got the so sensitive camera, it can take the eyeball movement and which can catch various expressions out of the human being, and these expressions are being converted into various decision making. In the sense, if a person's, it takes so much of such data, we are trying to build certain certain predictive analytics on each of this case. And this case has been built as a huge repository. From this repository, we will be able to call out whenever we see an expression and trying to react accordingly. So the robo also will try to react when some questions are asked. For example, if someone comes and he's an elderly person, then the robot will get up from the seat, and because it sensitized he's an elderly person. It is done through, this repository of data becomes so large that it can find out the, various physical phenomena, and it will try to react accordingly. It can bring out a smile. Now, the humanoid robots we have built, so that has got a smile, it has got expression, it has got laugh, it has got a beautiful the tones in that. So this is the advancement. It's of course so much of the input data which we are getting it from various sources, hospital sources, where we fixed so much of robo interface which picks up regular data. These data are being analyzed and we create a structural platform. And from this platform, we are running this emotional expressions as well.
Good evening, sir. This is Ganesh.
Go ahead.
Good evening.
So thank you so much for the wonderful session. The insights were really interesting. And I have a question. I'm into digital transformation assignments. So I have a question, with regard to the contact centers. The call center of yesteryears to of now it is known as, digital contact center. And there are a lot of transformations happening, in these areas. So could you please provide us some insights of what would, the transformation be likely to be in the next couple of years, or the next gen contact centers?
Actually, the point is now the voice. Now usually the old conventional call center, somebody calls and some human being will pick up the call and he understands the question and try to give an answer. This is what this call center is all about. now the digitalized AI-based call centers, which all these questions, now that you have got the language interface, you can have English or Tamil or Hindi or whatever language you want to fix, you can fix it. So the moment you call, it does the filtering and trying to give the digital format to the machine, and the machine will immediately pick up the answer, and it gives back in a very sweet voice. It is going to be completely machine based. So where the human being is going to interface is only build the intelligence of the machine. That's about it. So the digital call centers are going to be automated call centers where AI will be doing the talking, and AI will be receiving the questions, and AI will be processing the questions.
So does it imply that the humans will disappear? I mean, the call center agents would be no more functional, or they would be involved in kind of developing the intelligent algorithms related to AI ML based for call centers or contact centers?
Actually, this contact center, you will have very intelligent people who has a knowledge of how to transform the analog data, namely the voice data, into digital format. And these people will interface with the call centers to build more and more intelligence. That is one. And number two, actually speaking, a person sitting on the seat and doing something very rudimentary and uncertain. I mean, very, very rudimentary job. So these jobs has to be pushed into digital, and you have to take the intelligence things. So now my call to all of them, you have to be more and more knowledgeable and very adaptive to technology. That is going to change that is going to be the paradigm shift. You have to be more and more adaptive and knowledgeable, and you must understand the digitalization very much. So henceforth, the knowledge workers, immaterial of their qualification, they should be more savvy. It's not they can do a basic service.
Thank you so much.
So, Dr. Aru, extending it, looks like the direction is clear that we are moving towards, just like autonomous cars, we are moving towards autonomous organizations. And humans will be needed only on exceptions to answer any exceptions that are not factored in. So it is only a question of time in terms of the number of years. Well, what is your view on this?
See, Raja, it's like this, the moment all that predefined questions, over a period, what intelligence it picks out of the conversation, it will all convert it into various code sets, which is already instructions built in. So suddenly some weird question comes in, okay? It may say, I think you got to clarify on certain points. What it doesn't understand, it is going to speak. And the person, the caller has to give a proper detail. For example, if he gives a very bad slang, slang that nobody can understand, even a human being can't understand, how would a computer can understand? He'll give a reply, sorry, I'm not able to understand what you talk about. Can you be a little clear? If somebody yell at the machine will say, this is not proper, you're not allowed to behave like that. So these are systems is going to happen. See, the question of putting the question back to a third party doesn't exist. What happens is, if something that cannot be decided by the robots, it will immediately say, I will put you on to my higher officer, he will speak. So it will be put on to the higher officer. This happens now in the call center. So this is going to be completely automated. Every system is going to be like that. There is no question of leaving a part and take the rest. It should be comprehensive.
In terms of industries, we see already so many industries using AI and ML. We have the income tax using AI and ML to find out more people who have to be brought into the tax net. Like that, the policing, they are looking at AI and ML too. So almost industry after industry is going in this direction. Are there any industries which you feel will take a long time to get into this AML, or are there any exceptions? And
I think the exception would be the human behavioral aspect. The question of, for example, you can't set up a robot to receive your somebody in the home. You have to do it yourself. You can't have an AI machine to interface with your own kit and kids. For example, you want to teach your young child, you can't put an AI system into that. There are many interfaces which is more, personalized, where human being has to be there. See, largely generalized application will move on to AI. When the number of kids goes beyond a point, then it is worth investing on AI. Rest of it, still a human being will be able to do that. This is one. Number two, when you talk about the customization or the AI application, you should have a good case to do it. You can't be doing for a very simple case. So it depends upon the case volume and the kind of interface that you want to build. See, every building of AI needs a huge learning. So it needs a lot of hours of work to build. So the feasibility also matters. So one has to take a call where exactly it is required. All rudimentary and large volumes, without AI, you cannot work.
see, when people start the AI projects, one of the things they struggle with is the data sets. They don't have large data sets to go with, right?
But that you can't say in India. We have huge data set, but we are not collecting. For example, number of surgeries they do in gastroenterology, we are the number one in the world. We do churn out so much of surgeries, but no doctor feed those report back into the system. So electronic EMR, we can produce so much of data sets to do best algorithm in India. The countries with a very low volume of data has built so many algorithms, but the country which has got a huge amount of data, we are not able to go because we have our own method of working. There is no rational. So data sets is abundantly available, and many of the large complex problems, data sets are already there. But all we have to do is we will have to properly collect those data. And the data should be properly fed. And it should be a cleansed, clean data.
There are a couple of issues like privacy of data. Then why should I share? What is in it for me? Kind of paradigms. Also, preventing people from.
See, actually, why would you share? And this is all personalized data. First of all, you look at the general data. For example, transport. See, for example, one simple case, you have potholes across every part of India in the road. So how to solve the potholes? Somebody has to be vigilant, and you can't set a person every kilometers to watch every day. So you must have some AI system to monitor the pothole. Once you monitor the pothole, it's not going to solve your problem. You have to have an asphalt center to prepare the required composition, and you must have the manual worker or the machine to go and pave it. So the problem is you have to coordinate so many things. AI is the best. Human being is the worst. Even the best human being will tend to make mistake, but AI doesn't make mistake. In fact, the self-driving cars has got very less accidents. Not even 1%. This has got 30%. So the accuracy of self-driving cars are more brilliant. Of course, in the US, not in India. India, no self-driving car can go because you have no discipline. Everybody skips the signal.
Yeah, I see a question in chat. Prafullal, can you unmute and ask this question?
Yeah, sir. My question is about education. How can teachers survive in an AI world?
I think the teachers has to be very creative. You can't survive by just doing a rudimentary job. Actually, the learning process now e-learning has come, and extraordinary voices have come to present your classes. So where is the teacher comes? Teacher comes in creating new coursework, very new assignments. See, that is where the human brain has to be used. And over a period, even that will be taken over by the AI system. So largely, I would say the future of teachers, they have to be techie savvy. They have to adapt to technology. Otherwise, just a teacher and he has got a good knowledge, he can be a good content creator. And he can create beautiful content and give it to the digital system. That's the way teachers has to survive. Teachers has to be out of the box. They can't be as usual. Simply, I can't go to the school or the college to teach. I got to be different. See, when I teach in, when I used to teach in this overseas university, every class I used to read 1:30. When I see students, they will also be reading. So every person comes with a beautiful question next morning. I don't teach my chapter. I don't read a word out of my chapter. I straight away ask questions and students will answer. I collaborate all the answers to find the best. So it is more a Socrates way of teaching. I think computer will do the regular teaching and you have to do the Socrates way of teaching. You have to put questions, you have to bring an assignment, and you have to be an extraordinary teacher. You can't be an ordinary teacher and still you can't survive. You have to be an extraordinary teacher. Hope I answered your questions. Prafulal?
Yes, sir.
Thank
I
you.
got it.
Yeah, if there are no other questions, one last question, Arumugan. See, people like Elon Musk have been talking about the machines learning fast to the extent that machine learns all the human techniques and starts taking decisions to the extent that it becomes autonomous, and thereby we lose control, right?
That is where I was talking about the last point, the self-aware robots. So self-aware AI. What happened over a period, if your machine, if you are continuously using, over a period it becomes extremely brilliant. And it will take its own action and starts moving. See, that's what I told you in my talk. We took 100 years to become extremely literate. It takes 100 years for the AI to be completely literate. 80 years have passed. 20 more years, we will be absolutely brilliant in our AI system.
Yeah, there is a question. Zoom user, please unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, hi. Dr. Rajan, this is Escalin. Dr. Arumugan, just this question. I mean, I'm just curious, what would be your opinion on what would happen to the CAs and the lawyers of the world?
Very, very good question. I think CS has to be techie savvy and they got to be extraordinary. They can't be just managing the the current human population, which is, the young population should understand they got to be excellent. They got to be different. They got to be out of box thinkers. This is the way we can survive. We will not be able to do the regular work, which is going to be completely transformed into the AI and the host of IT, AI, and the future is going to be very, very brilliant in terms of systems which are going to come in, including quantum computing. Once these are all in place, your intelligence here will go up with the machine. So the human being, be it a lawyer, be it the CA, you have your own thing. That is where government come into picture. What government will say, whatever computer output comes, it has to be certified by a
Correct.
chartered accountant. So as long as government protects you, you have your own way to survive. Otherwise, you got to be extraordinary. That's what my answer would be. For lawyers, I think as long as the judicial system is there, they want that black coat and people have to stand, etc. If they are ready to leave that shackles and leave the system to work on its own, we will have judgments in one day. You don't have to wait for 10 years, 20 years. It will be all perfect judgment. You can create such a perfect model that will give you a fantastic judgment. Because the way the information the human being handles and the machine handles, there is a lot of difference. The entire IPC, Indian Penal Code, we can put into the computer. And every argument, it will keep going into that and it will correlate. It will say whether he's right or he's right.
Correct.
And that can come into the judge for taking final call. But they don't do it.
Yeah. I feel
don't
it's a very good use case, right? The digital one.
There are people working on judiciary system as well. One of my friends is doing a lot of work. Are you a
Yeah.
lawyer or are you a chartered accountant?
No, I am a hardcore IT professional.
Okay, interesting.
So one good use case, would be, if this AIML helps in the judiciary system, wherein the huge amount of pending cases are actually quite, resolved in a shorter time period. Maybe if the turnaround time, if it decreases or if it reduces, I'm sure it might help, many of the.
I think much of the jail you can vacate.
Sorry?
Much of the jail inmates can get out freely because many of them are suspected cases only now. Because of the judiciary delay, many people continue to sit in jail. For a computer, there is no Saturday, Sunday. No, it can work all 365 days efficiently, and there is no 8 hours barrier. It can work for 24 hours. You can see that all the cases will be done, but you have to be very personal. But don't tell any judges; they may give me a sentence for me.
Absolutely.
So this is what the truth.
Yeah.
Technology is such a superior one.
Yeah, there are at least 2 more hands which are raised. Maybe the Zoom user, I don't know the name. You can unmute and ask.
Good evening, Dr. Arumugan. This is Raghu. One of the things I wanted to ask specifically is, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you place the penetration of AI in India in 2 cases? One is large automotive industries, and second is MSMEs.
Well, it's a very good question. I think large industries in a scale of 1 to 10, I think they have crossed 6.5 to 7. In terms
Wow.
of small industries, they are lagging. I think they are behind. I think some industries have done, some industries have not done. So there is a big disparity. Large industries, as you all know, the big ticket companies always do a great job. They have the investment capacity. They just build. They will have a lot of people to build and they come in. And number 2, they have their international exports. You see, when it comes to exports and imports, they wanted to have the same platform to move. So obviously they need a proper system. Otherwise, their peers across the world will not be able to communicate. So large companies, 6.5, some companies have gone up to 9.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it's close to 10. Yeah, many companies. I think Daimler is one, which has completely
Right.
because they got to talk to other rest of the world.
Yeah, I think that kind of puts it in perspective. Like if you say Daimler, we are aware that because of the German roots, I think they have a lot of support, and what happens there is parallelly happening here. But the problem with MSME is, first is to identify which of the areas can be put onto AI. I think if some kind of consultants or experts can open up shop and then go about doing this, I think the penetration of AI will be far better.
I
Because
think
now
that
there
is
are
a Yeah, very good suggestion. That's where we have created a center called Tansom here in Chennai.
Right.
Private Park. We are willing to extend all the support. In fact, we are trying to build some spoke infrastructure in all these clusters of MSME, and they are going to have access to all the latest technology. Once it is given access to them, they will be able to do it. Much of the reverse engineering, they are not able to do it. I think from now, they will be able to do it. I think we are quite competitive once the technology is coming into there.
Oh,
In
that's
fact,
good
they
to
have the
hear.
best
Yeah.
brain, they have the best brain, and they have the good hands, but unfortunately, lack of technology, they fail. So that's a very valid input. I think government is taking some effort and things are being implemented.
Good to hear that. Thank you so much, Dr. Arumugan.
Thank you.
This is the last question in the interest of time, Dr. Gopal.
Matter of fact, I'm very much an insider to spin. Time permits is my question. Otherwise, we can pick it up later as well.
No,
Your
I
choice.
think,
Okay.
no, go ahead, Dr. Gopal.
Thank you very much.
Your questions are always illuminating and it will be insightful for others as well.
Thanks for the nice words. You see, way back in 90s, I had one late MG Venkatesh Murthy, who was one of our PhD scholars at Computer Science and Engineering, School of Computer Science and Engineering. His thesis stems from making a gist of judgments. Earlier question was also alluding to how AI can expedite the judgment process. So Rajaraman was the external examiner for that PhD. The nice assisting Professor Venkatesh Murthy. The concern here is that there were two questions which we couldn't solve. AI is fine. One is, why did the judge make such a long judgment, which is making you do a précis of a judgment? Why was it pronounced in such a long manner? Second, the technology. The technology did bog down many of the implementations. That may be true even now. But then are we really ripe to answer the questions which are more like, the intelligence of the concerned person who is making such a laborious effort?
I'm not able to hear you.
Sorry,
Dr. Gopal, you are not able to make sense
Yeah.
of the question.
The judgment is running into n number of pages, a very long, laborious exercise. Why at all, if at all, was that judgment done like that? And why are we making a précis of it, whether it is by machine or by people?
Well, I think here I can answer this question because I have been interfacing with some of the Supreme Court judges as well during the judiciary, system transformation. I understand largely so much of arguments that comes, all the arguments has to be recorded. Because that is something very, very important for the whole lot of judgment and addendums. So that every consul's argument goes into pages. This is one laborious activity which comes into that. Finally, they apply the judiciary. Judiciary will apply the law, all the various previous judgments, and then they make their findings. Finally, they give their judgment. That's just 1 page or half page or a quarter page. Rest of it is only a history. So I think whatever your friend has done it is in 79 is something which is phenomenal because someone could think during that time is wonderful. So all they have to do is this history part. We have to have automated recording. So that recording should take the history part. And it should call out all the legal things and just fill it up and give the docket to the judge. He has to make his final thing and be done with it. This should stop the delay of each judgment. That's what I would say. So partial computing they should do it. I think at the moment even the partial computing is not well in place.
Possibly, adding to Dr. Arumugam's thing, Dr. Gopal, at that point in time, the digital transformation has not been accepted, phenomenon.
No, 70, IBM PC came in 81.
No,
So,
what I'm saying is, the fact
79
that
is pretty early to think.
today acceptance of digital as a medium, as a record, is accepted today in court of law. Whereas at that point in time, it was not, it was not so evolved. As a result, even though they might have used the machine to make some judgment, to come out with some, models and predictions, the fact that finally the acceptance of the format and the delivery, that they have to stick to the old norms. Possibly, there's just my, guess as to why they adopted like that. Professor Gopal, your views?
It is still a puzzle to me. Still a puzzle to me if that is required to be applied on human beings with all arguments, counter arguments reasonably documented. A précis should also be applicable to human beings. And the human side is something which I really didn't catch in that many ways at that time. Much later, we are looking at the human.
Yeah. I appreciate your feeling. This is what everyone's, any sensible person will certainly feel like that, because the delay of judgment causes so much of concern. I think personally, a human being going through a lot of stress, and the family go through a lot of stress for someone who's implicating. Unfortunately, our judicial system, if somebody is implicated, they got argue for their innocence. Rather, they will not be proved by the other side. So we have to do everything. So they waste a lot of time, money, and suffering.
Nice, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks for the extended spell of time. Thanks.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I know you. I happened to see you in Anna University when I used to come to meet Mr. Krishnamurthy, Professor Krishnamurthy. It's always a pleasure. I still remember your beautiful smile.
So thank you so much. In teaching, we keep telling never trust a smiling teacher. Anyway.
Smiling assassin. Yeah, no doubt. No, Professor Gopal has been kind of consistent and steady player at Anna University, and has been a great supporter of all of us, including Spin Chennai and for long years. Thank you, Professor Gopal. With this, I would like to invite Mr. Srinivasan, who is a Spin Chennai champion, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Srini.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to start it off with thanking Dr. Rajaram for bringing Dr. Arumugan to share his expertise and insights with us. It was totally insightful and knowledgeable. And starting it off, my personal myth that which you started off, the 10,000 hours of learning, becoming an expert from outliers. That is the notion I too had. And firstly, it started off with that myth being busted, and you touching upon all the latest relevant AI-based topics, like that the frenzy around ChatGPT and Boston Dynamics recently displaying their robotics and everything. And it was a holistic approach on everything that was related to AI. And it started off way back from all the 80 years of journey, something that which you are able to condense it within that 1 to 1.5 hours. That was totally mind-blowing, and thanks to all your patience and efforts in putting this through. And thank you, Dr. Arumugan, once again for taking the time off to be with us today. And thanks to all the delegates for spending your evening with us in amidst this beautiful topic. And keep subscribe to all the social media channels of Spin Chennai, so that we are able to share more of these kind of wonderful initiatives with you all. And once again, we would like to meet you all in one other session of Spin Chennai, wherein we would love to share all the knowledge and expertise from our speakers and guests with all of you. And with that note, we would like to thank everyone for taking the time to be with us. Thank you, Dr. Arumugan, once again, and thank you, Dr. Rajaram, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Raja. Thank you so much
Dr.
for all yours.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
For your patient listening and participation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Mr. Shekhar Seturaj, you had something to say? Please unmute. Yes, sir. We would like to hear you if you have anything to share.
He is again muted. You muted. Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Arun sir is my friend, sir.
Okay, okay. Very nice. So DSP in Chennai,
Sir, Madurai, sir, Madurai.
Madurai. Okay.
Anti land grabbing.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.